Hello, this is Dr. Bol Jock. Today I would like to do sessions on how to create an autonomous work environment using two theories. First one is the self-determination theory, and the second theory is the authentic leadership theory. So using those two approaches, how can you create an autonomous workplace and why is it important? How does an authentic leader, being an authentic leader, correlate with workplace motivation, particularly within the millennials IT engineers? So that's what I'm going to talk about today, to kind of give you what is the best way to create that environment where autonomy can produce good outcome for your organization. There are three essential things that must happen, so that must be available in the workplace for somebody to have a high quality motivation, which self-determination theory describes the highest quality motivation as intrinsic motivation, where a person is doing a task because they enjoy it. And for that high quality motivation to occur, three elements must be available in the workplace. The first one is competence or mastery, in different terms. That means a person has to feel competence in the task that they're doing. Either they have enough training, they have enough experience to where they feel that they have a mastery level of that task. That's the first element, competence. The second element is having that autonomy, having a choice. Like, no, you're not being controlled, you're not being micromanaged. When you have that autonomy, there is a high chance you will experience intrinsic motivation or other high quality motivation. And then the third element that must occur, that must be available in the workplace to have a high quality motivation, is relatedness. So having relationship to your peers, having relationship to your supervisors, having that relationship, having that quality relationship will increase your motivation quality. So those three, competence, autonomy, and relatedness, are essential for creating a workplace environment that is an autonomous workplace environment. Self-determination theory classified those motivation into different qualities. And at the very lowest, or even you can say it doesn't exist, is an A motivation. When someone is A motivated, they either don't have competence in doing that task, or they don't value that task. Like, even if they can do it and they don't see the value of doing it, then they will not be motivated to do it. So that's a motivated person. So whatever you do, they're not motivated to do it. And then as you go into a higher one than a motivated, you go to external regulation. So that external regulation is, yes, I have, because I'm being pressured, or I'm doing it because I don't want to feel bad or something like that, then you are being pressured to do that. But at least there is some entities that pushing you to do that, and you believe in that. So that external regulation. Then you go to interjection. Interjection, basically just saying, if I don't do this task, I will feel bad about it. So it's a guilt. You feel guilty if you don't do it. And then now you start making your way into high quality motivation, identification, and integration. So those two are high quality because now you are believing in the task. You are believing on why you're doing it. You have a buy-in on that task that you're doing. You may not enjoy it, but you actually believe why you're doing it. And then at the furthest right, which is the highest quality of motivation, is the intrinsic motivation, where you're doing it because you enjoy it. For example, for me, I like going to the gym. I like working out. Like even if I don't have to do it, I'll go and do that. Right? So one can say it's an intrinsic motivation because when I do it, I get enjoyment out of it. Another thing is like editing videos. I don't have to edit videos, but that's something I enjoy on my free time. So that is intrinsically motivated to me. So it's different from everybody. But intrinsic motivation is the highest quality of motivation where you're doing something not because of external gains, you're doing it because you enjoy it. Another theory we want to talk about is the authentic leadership theory. So we're looking at it, when we look at motivation, you're looking at it from an individual level, right? But when you talking about organization, a major or essential part of organization is leadership. So if your leadership is creating a condition for you to experience high quality motivation, then you're more likely gonna be motivated to go to work. And authentic leadership is found to correlate with high quality motivation. So what is an authentic leadership? So authentic leadership is a leadership model that prioritizes self-awareness. The leader has to be self-aware. It also prioritizes internalized moral perspective. So you have to believe on that cause, the organizational cause, right? You have a deep moral compass that allow you to make decisions. So that's what it means by internalized moral perspective. And then you have relational transparency. You have a quality relationship with your followers, right? And then balanced processing of information, which is a leader, instead of making like decisions in a very manner that doesn't put into account multiple perspectives, a leader step back and analyze the situation, objectively analyze it, looking at it from different angles before they make decisions, right? So the balanced processing of information is that a leader doesn't make decision rather in a quick, responsive way. They step back, analyze the situation, the good and the bad, what are the consequences, what lead into what, before they make a decision, which lead them to have a high quality decision making process. So that's what authentic leadership or authentic leaders does, right? They are self-aware. They have internalized moral perspective. They have relational transparency with their followers, and they make decisions, objective decision after considering multiple perspectives. So with that, what happens when you have an authentic leadership or when you have an authentic leader? What does the study says about it? What happened to the workplace? So with this study by Zhang and colleagues in 2022, the study looked at 214 primary studies, which involved 1,960,000 participants. And this is a meta-analysis, so they went and looked for all the articles that study about authentic leadership. And what did they found? I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'm going to go through the key things. The first one is leaders' effectiveness. So it is found that leaders' effectiveness correlate with authentic leadership. And then another one is team performance. You could say the team performance highly correlate with an authentic leader. Then you look at the employees or worker job satisfaction. You can see down there is 0.54, which is pretty high. And then you go to leader satisfaction. So as a leader, when you are an authentic leader, what happened to you? Well, you experience a high satisfaction yourself. So both the leader and the followers get high satisfaction when a leader is authentic. And then workplace trust. So people are more trustworthy They trust each other. They trust their leader when they are being led by an authentic leader. And then let's look at the negative part of the organization. So when you look at stress, the stress level go down. So negative 0.21, right? Counterproductive work behavior, like gossiping, those kind of things, they go down. Emotional exhaustion, like you go to work and you feel exhausted. When you are being led by an authentic leader, that it goes down. It negative correlate with authentic leadership. Organizational citizenship behavior. What does that mean? That means you go above and beyond your immediate task. For example, if you are a mechanic, a tire mechanic, that would be your primary goal, like to go put in the tires. But if you have an organizational citizenship behavior, now you go beyond that task. You still responsible for your task. You complete it, but you will now go and help customers. You will go and help other mechanics if they are falling behind on their tasks. You volunteer for any other task that needs to get done. So those behaviors, when people are being led by authentic leader, the organizational citizenship behavior increases. So that's the study by Zhang and colleague in 2022. Another meta-analysis by Hamet in 2023 also went and looked for looked for in the literature. Well, how does being an authentic leader correlate with various organizational factors? And he found that psychological ownership. So you have ownership of your organizational culture, task, right? And you have intrinsic motivation. What I mentioned earlier, having that motivation to go to work, having motivation to execute your task. When you are led by an authentic leader, it is found that your intrinsic motivation increases. And then meaningfulness in your work. So you find a lot of meaning in your work when you are led by an authentic leader. Trust. You trust your organization more. You become more creative. You engage more in your workplace when you are led by an authentic leader. Another one is by Aliyah and Wong, and in 2018. Again, you could see the how does the authentic leadership correlates with other organizations. So again, job satisfaction. It decreased emotional exhaustion. Job performance increase. Knowledge sharing. So in overall, when you are being led by an authentic leader, then you are likely to experience positive behavior or positive. You are able to experience you are able to have a positive experience in the workplace. So now with my own study, what did I find that that authentic leadership does to the followers or to the workers? So my study was looking at how does authentic leadership correlates with millennial IT engineers' work motivation. So it's looking at those motivation we discussed earlier, those different qualities of motivation. How does it correlate with those? So I found that it positively correlated with intrinsic motivation. Looking at the top, positive correlated with integrated regulations, and correlated with identified regulations, interjected regulations, and external regulations. So overall, my study found that when you have an authentic leader, you experience all the motivation level from the highest to the lowest. And also when I look at that, he has no correlation with a motivation. So that's what you don't want. That person doesn't care what you tell them. My study found that authentic leadership doesn't have any correlation with a motivation. So now that we know that authentic leader correlate with these different type of positive organizational factors, how can a person that wants to be an authentic leader develop their own authentic leadership traits or qualities? Because authentic leadership says that any leadership behavior can be taught and can be learned if the person wants to do that. So how can you do that if you're a leader that says, hey, I understand there is positive factors that come with authentic leadership, and I want to develop my own leadership style or my authentic leadership factors. What can I do? So, well, you got to go and do the factors I mentioned earlier. Self-awareness. So how can you be self-aware as a leader? You can go, there are a lot of tools that you can go and assess yourself. For me, I went and did the character strength, where I went and look at, okay, what is my leadership weaknesses? What are my strengths? And now it gives me awareness that when I'm talking to one of my workers or one of my followers, I'm aware that my weaknesses, I'm aware of where my weaknesses and where my strengths are. So there are different ways you can go and assess yourself and know who you are. So that would increase your self-awareness. And then for internalized moral perspective, how do you develop that as a leader? It go to your being reflective. Reflect on your past. Because the authentic leadership says that our moral compass is developed by our upbringing. There are some things that when you are growing up, they impact you at the deeper level. So going back to those things and understanding them, that will give you your moral compass when you're making decisions. And then relational transparency. This is where you are basically having quality relationship with your followers. You are constantly working with them, understanding them, or understanding their perspective, them understanding you, who you are, and having that quality relationship with them. That would increase your authentic leadership behavior. And then having that balanced processing of information. So having that objective decision-making process. A way to practice that is reflect back. Step back from situation, understand different perspective, and then make decision. So that's the way you can increase your authentic leadership behavior or become a more authentic leader. And if you want to go read up on more information on this, I urge you to go and look at the meta-analysis that I mentioned earlier. In addition to those, there are these studies, Olson and Johnson, which look at it from the military perspective. Like this study looked at how does millennials versus Generation X like authentic leadership. Which generation prefer authentic leadership between those two? And for me, I have several articles that I publish looking at it from the military perspective. So my first one is what is the scientific approach to solving Army retention problem? Because a lot of people are leaving the Army or not wanting to join the Army. So that article kind of explained what is the best way the Army can utilize authentic leadership and self-determination theory to tackle that problem. And then another one is the operationalizing the Army people strategy. That was one of my articles where I highlighted, these are the leadership model the Army has been using for a long time, but how do we integrate authentic leadership and self-determination theory principle into those into the Army leadership philosophy? And so again, thank you for watching. This is Dr. Bol Jock. I'll go through the authentic leadership. How does it correlate with motivation, with workplace motivation? How can you develop your own authentic leadership so you can be able to create an autonomous workplace for your followers or for your organization?